Okay, it is 1 o'clock, March 14th, 2023. My name is Brad Johnson. I'm the director of the Hamilton County Department of Environmental Services, which includes both the Southwest Ohio Air Quality Agency and Hamilton County Resource, formerly known as the Hamilton County Recycling and Solid Waste District. The purpose of this meeting, virtual meeting with the ability to come into the office here at 250 William Howard Taft, is the public hearing for the Hamilton County Solid Waste Management Plan Update. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Michelle. Michelle is the Solid Waste Manager here for Hamilton County Resource, and she's going to provide a quick PowerPoint presentation to go over the plan update.
Brad? PowerPoint maybe? There we go. Okay, so this is a probably 5 to 7 minute presentation about mainly going over some highlights of our solid waste plan, kind of why we're doing this and where we're at in the process. As Brad said, Hamilton County Resource, we used to be called Hamilton County Recycling and Solid Waste District, and we are a non-regulatory county office with the mission of reducing waste going to the landfill. We are part of the Department of Environmental Services, and we are under the Board of County Commissioners. So I'm quickly going to highlight a few programs that we offer just so you can kind of get an idea of the scope of what we do. We do have grant programs. Our largest grant program is the Residential Recycling Incentive, which goes out to communities to help support curbside recycling and yard trimming collection programs. We also have smaller grants that go out to nonprofits, for-profits, schools, communities to support, one-time infrastructure. We have outreach campaigns that we do. Our two largest ones are our residential recycling outreach campaign that we do every year to encourage people to recycle right. And we also have a food waste reduction campaign where we try to, I can scoot around, a food waste reduction campaign to try to encourage residents to reduce how much food they've wasted. We fund a full-time sheriff's deputy for environmental enforcement, and we also have drop-off programs for yard trimmings and house hazardous products. So as far as the timeline for the plan update, our 30-day public comment period ended March 9th last week. We are having our public hearing. That's where we're at right now. We also have Hamilton County Solid Waste Policy Committee meeting tomorrow. And the Hamilton County Solid Waste Policy Committee, they're the ones who will decide that the plan is ready and we move into ratification. So they could either decide that tomorrow or they could wait until May 17th at their next meeting. And then we will enter into a 90-day ratification period where communities have 90 days to approve or disapprove of the plan. So this is kind of what that looks like. We have 48 political jurisdictions within solid waste districts, and according to Ohio Revised Code, we have to get communities representing 60% of our population to approve the plan. We also have to have the City of Cincinnati, and we have to have the Board of County Commissioners. Last time we went out for approval, we got 100% approval from communities. Just a few things that the plan has in it. We do have community support. So I mentioned the Residential Recycling Incentive, which is our large grant program that is maintaining funding at $800,000. We also offer communities technical assistance. So if they're going out for a bid for waste and recycling services, or if they're interested in starting that in their community, we will help them with those bid specs. And we also choose 2 to 3 communities every year as a target community, and those relationships usually last longer than a year and help them with whatever they need to do to help improve their infrastructure in their community. Right now, those communities are Reading and North College Hill. So businesses, the commercial sector and the industrial sector, make up 86% of the waste generated in Hamilton County. But historically, Resource has committed a very small percentage of our budget to this sector. So this plan increases that budget from $145,000 to $220,000. That's going to allow us to provide more support, more waste audits, more technical assistance and supplies to that business sector to help them improve their recycling, improve waste reduction programs, composting, all of that. We also highlighted in this plan, we hired a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant in addition to our solid waste consultant. And we wanted to make sure that we are reaching all of the audiences within Hamilton County. And we also really wanted to make sure that any new programs that we were creating would take into consideration all of the people in Hamilton County. So we worked with a consultant that was really helpful. They went through our programs, they went through staff training. The full report is available on our website. It's also incorporated as an appendix into the actual solid waste plan. But one of the things that came out of were these 5 diversity, equity, inclusion goals for us to move forward in those efforts. Finally, I wanted to highlight our priority waste stream, which is food. So food represents about 15% of the waste going into the landfill for both the residential and the commercial sectors. Unfortunately, the ability to process food at the end of its life, that infrastructure is very weak in this area. So this was one of the areas that we highlighted as an area that we can work on to improve diversion. And we've definitely set a target of that we are going to always follow the US EPA waste diversion hierarchy, which means first we start with waste diversion, or complete waste reduction. We do not want the food to be created in the first place if it's going to be wasted. So we try to do that with our residential campaign of Wasted Food Stops With Us, and we work with the business industry on that as well. The next step is if we can't reduce the waste, that we rescue the food and feed hungry people. So we're already working with the food rescue infrastructure. We actually have a pretty strong food rescue infrastructure in this area, but it's almost all on the burden of nonprofits. And so they have unique needs, and so we've been working with them to provide things like refrigeration and trucks to help improve that infrastructure and make sure that food gets rescued. Finally, if we can't reduce the food waste and we can't rescue the food, then it needs to go to some sort of food scrap processing to divert it from the landfill, whether that be composting, anaerobic digestion, or even more innovative things like making pet food out of it. So we have set aside $150,000 to conduct a study on food scrap processing potential locations, technology, to initiate a public-private partnership in the plan. So one thing I did want to highlight is that we have broken up our waste diversion goals into residential and commercial. So you can see here the 2020 diversion goals. That's 2020 is the baseline year for our plan, and then the 2038 goals. And so we've really pushed those higher than we had them previously to try to improve those individual areas. We did not include industrial in here because, quite honestly, industrial already has a very high diversion rate, and it's a harder area to squeeze more diversion out of. We feel like there's more potential in the commercial and residential areas. Frozen up on me, sorry. There we go.
Actually, that was me. Here you go.
So that's all I have. Of course, my contact information is there if anybody has any questions. And I will stop sharing so that we can move on to the main portion of our public hearing. And off my back too.
So does anybody want to go first? The only thing I would ask is that you state your name, full name, and if you have an affiliation or somebody you're representing, state that as well. And we do have a 3-minute time limit. We're going to be obviously flexible with that. So if you have a point that you're making, we'll certainly work with you on that as well. but you're welcome to come up and take the floor. Thank you. My name is Tim Mara, and the comments I'm making are on behalf of the Solid Waste Caucus. We believe that a more aggressive waste diversion strategy is needed than is the one presented in the draft plan. We need to end over-reliance on landfills, and the over-reliance on landfills has serious consequences, including impacts on public health, particularly on those living in close proximity to landfills, and ongoing degradation of the environment, particularly to natural resources in close proximity to landfills. The update of the county's 5-year waste management plan should include a call to accelerate the rate of waste diversion to the maximum feasible extent, which we don't believe it does. When we fail to do our best to end degradation of public health and the environment, we are implicitly saying, too bad, it's just not important enough to us to make the extra effort to accelerate waste diversion. Former Policy Committee member Robert Geddert presented a simple, well-conceived set of aspirational goals for universal trash collection, universal access to recycling, and even separate collection and recycling of organics, which includes food and yard waste. Our caucus urges the Policy Committee of the Hamilton County Solid Waste District to amend the draft plan update to clearly and prominently include these aspirational goals in the plan before submitting it to the municipalities and townships for approval. In addition to these critical aspirational goals, our caucus urges you to act now to raise Tier 2 out-of-county fees, but to the $4 per ton level, beginning with a 50-cent annual increase on January 1, 2024, and continuing until the $4 increase, until the increase reaches to the total of $4. As Robert Geddert so clearly laid out in his proposal, increasing the Tier 2 rate to $4 per ton may result in diversion of some waste to somewhere other than Hamilton County, but will more likely result in a substantial increase in Tier 2 revenue. Increased revenue can and should be used for a variety of waste reduction efforts, in addition to the ones now contained in the draft plan. He has listed those for your consideration. Another glaring omission from the draft plan update is a clear siting strategy for new and expanded solid waste facilities. Again, Mr. Geddert proposed a siting strategy at various times during 2022, but the Policy Committee failed to act on his proposal or any alternative. A clear siting strategy could and should include criteria for evaluating proposed new and expanded landfills or other solid waste facilities. With an explicit list of siting criteria to protect public health and the environment, the Policy Committee would have clear, agreed-upon criteria in hand to evaluate all proposals which come before it. But again, the Policy Committee did not move forward on these criteria, which should be in the plan. Now, before the plan moves forward for community ratification, is the right time to add siting strategy to the updated plan. Any plan, and I'm a planner by training and experience, that fails to include more aggressive, explicit goals and objectives for diversion of waste is a missed opportunity, as is any plan which does not propose explicit siting criteria to protect public health and the environment. Failure to incorporate these measures into the updated plan is a triumph of complacency over progress and makes the plan less impactful than it could and should be. We urge you to reject the complacency and embrace progress. Thank you. Thank you for your comments, Tim.
Good afternoon. My name is Rich Jordan, and I'm affiliated with the Miami Group of Sierra Club. And I'm going to echo Mr. Mara's comments here. We've worked with his committee closely on this, and I'm also going to reference Bob Geddert, who I know is on our call. I saw he's attending remotely. So, Policy Committee members. My name is Rich Jordan. I'm a member of the Sierra Group, Miami Group, Sierra Club of Ohio. I'm offering these comments on behalf of our group and our chairperson, Sally Dannemiller. In response to the draft version of the 5-year solid waste plan, the Miami Group strongly objects to the plan in its current form. We feel the provisions are weak and not tailored to have an impactful diversion rate for these reasons. If adopted, the plan would begin in 2024 and then be subject to review at the 5-year mark. Therefore, it would not be until the 2030s with the next plan update to actually have a progressive path forward for implementing zero waste programs. Anticipating economic development and population growth in Hamilton County and surrounding communities, the Miami Group believes 5 years is much too long of a wait. The plan denies Hamilton County residents a method for preserving the current limited landfill space at the Rumpke Coleraine landfill. Another glaring omission from the draft plan that I think Bob mentioned is that it lacks a clear siting strategy for new and expanded solid waste facilities. Again, Mr. Getters proposed a siting strategy at various times in 2022, but the policy committee failed to act on his proposal. We feel the policy committee must develop a clear siting strategy that includes criteria for evaluating new and proposed expanded landfill facilities. By instituting this type of a criteria, it would protect public health and the environment, and the policy committee would have a clear, agreed-upon standards to evaluate proposals which come before it. Fortunately, the committee has not sufficiently considered such criteria. Now is the time, before the plan moves forward, to add a siting strategy to the updated plan. We also advise raising the tipping fees for out-of-county waste. We need to move boldly now. The Miami Group believes these increased tipping fees should and could support weekly universal access to recycling, along with universal access to organic collection. Increased education and PR surrounding universal trash collection. The plan should include an organics collection site, and improvements to the hazardous household waste program should also be strengthened. Miami Group believes it will be a missed opportunity should the current plan go forward. Without progressive revisions to the plan, the health of our citizens, the health of our environment will suffer greatly. In turn, it will reflect poorly on Hamilton County, the commissioners, and Hamilton County resources well into the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rich. Thanks for your comments and for being here.
My name is Kurt Grossman. I've gone to school, worked, lived, paid taxes, and voted regularly in Hamilton County for most of my adult life. I and my neighbors, and indeed our entire community, have counted on our government to protect us from harmful activities of others in an even-handed and fair manner. When it comes to solid waste, it has become evident that one member of our community received undue favorable treatment to the detriment of the rest of our community. Even this process is an example. A plan was put together for public comment. We got public comment. Has even one word of that plan been changed based on the public comment? We have a public hearing today, and yet the policy committee will meet tomorrow to allegedly approve the plan. It is impossible to revise the plan in that time, which makes this public hearing more of a sham than anything else. An opportunity wasted, and an opportunity to act on the community's behalf to protect the environments for the long term, and instead it largely focuses on seemingly protecting Rumpke rather than any of us. And I find that unacceptable as a taxpayer and a voter, and shameful as a member of the community. For example, we know that former policy committee member Robert Getter presented thoughtful and useful proposals to encourage out-of-county waste to go elsewhere, or to at least raise revenue for developing a number of waste reduction efforts. None of that is here. Similarly, the plan lacks a clear siting strategy, as you've heard from others. I've raised that to the policy committee many times, because the way our setup is right now, we could end up with the next Mount Rumpke in Fountain Square. That is entirely unacceptable to this. Without any strategy for controlling new or expanded waste facilities, we're left without any meaningful protection or recourse. Need an explicit list of citing criteria by which to evaluate citing issues in order to protect the public health and our environment. Criteria need to be present now and before this plan moves forward for community ratification. You have the opportunity to encourage waste diversion and take steps to protect our whole community. Plan is the place to do it, and I encourage you to act on the community behalf. I do want to point out how disappointed I am that not one member of the policy committee even here to participate in the public hearing. That's the purpose of a public hearing, so they hear from us, not a recording later, not an opportunity to even ask questions or inquire. Again, I feel that this process has not worked, and it is leaving out the community that you're charged to represent it.
Thank you, Kurt. Thank you for the comments, for being here. We have Bob Geddert is on. Bob, did you have any comments that you wanted to make?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, feel free.
Thank you. I have a few comments. I do thank the members of the public and I concur with their comments. And I would add emphasis on the need for siting requirements in the event that there may be a new landfill proposed within the district, that the district should be prepared with siting requirements. And that's been noted and in several of the public comments. I also agree for the need for tier 2 rate increase in the fees. And you've heard from me in the past on that. I won't put too much time on that today, but I do feel that there is a need to limit the flow of waste from the out of district flows from within the state of Ohio, and the tier 2 fee increase would achieve that. I also feel there should be an endorsement of the zero waste hierarchy as described by the Zero Waste Alliance. This plan doesn't seem to put enough emphasis on waste reduction and reuse before recycling. And I feel that all three, waste reduction, reuse, and recycling, is needed in the district, but the zero waste hierarchy places the hierarchy in the proper order. And I feel that there's an emphasis that's needed, an endorsement of the zero waste hierarchy. Most importantly, my comments are based on the need to listen to public testimony and public comments. The public comments were due March 9th. This is a public hearing today, and yet there is a call for the policy committee to vote on the draft plan tomorrow. And that doesn't sync right with me, because it is impossible for the district staff to incorporate all the public comments that came in, as well as the public comments today, in time for tomorrow's meeting, and for the policy committee to review all those comments and the changes in the plan. So I would urge you to withdraw the line item for endorsement and adoption of the plan in the policy committee meeting tomorrow, and kick that back to the following policy committee, so that the policy committee can fully read the plan, and the district staff can fully incorporate the public's comments into the plan. I really want to emphasize that the public's comments are most important. This is a policy document that impacts more than 800,000 people. And I really encourage you to take heart in the public's comments. Listen to the public. That's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate the comments for being here as well. All right, it looks like we don't have anybody else online. Let me just double check and make sure. Oh, I'm sorry. Was there another one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. B. Costello, did you want to provide any comment? You're welcome to put a comment in the chat as well if you'd like. Channel 12 was on there. Joy's with our office. She's a communications specialist. Okay, so it looks like we don't have anybody else. So if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and close out the public hearing. Michelle, did you have anything else on your end?
No.
All right, well, thanks again for being here. I really appreciate your time and the effort. Thank you, everybody. All right.